is It's All About Healing podcast. In today's episode, we have Aggie Jordan. She's the author of A Woman's Voice Should Be Heard. She will be discussing women's equality and the phenomenon of misogynism, as well as how women can thrive in retirement and live the happiest life. Aggie, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Oh, I will tell you right now, I do live in retirement and I'm very happy with it.
Yeah.
Well, kind of partial retirement because once you write a memoir, you are trying to get out there and sell it. So I'm not really in full retirement, you know.
Mhm.
But the subtitle of the book is My Journey from the Convent to the Battle for Women's Equality. And
Mhm.
I was in the convent for 14 years.
Oh,
And
wow.
um, and so often, and I left after 14 years after I went to the University of Notre Dame and I met so many wonderful women. Oh,
Mhm.
just marvelous women who awakened me to the women's movement.
Mhm.
This was in the 1960s, late 1960s, when two things were crossing. It was the Catholic Church had just completed the council, but had the results of that Vatican Council. That was a major point in history. And the second one was the women's movement. And they
Mhm.
were crossing each other all over the world. So it was a
Wow.
very exciting time to be in.
Mhm.
Um, and I had a transformation at the University of Notre Dame. I went to a lecture, and the man was talking about this incident of the council and what the council was doing. And then he said, men in the Catholic Church are the action makers, and women are the receptacles.
Mhm.
Well, that did not make women happy in that
Right.
room.
Yeah.
We were not happy. We went back to our dorm, to the women's dorm, first dorm ever on the University of Notre Dame for women, women
Mhm.
only. And this woman was just standing up there, and every woman was in the lobby, and we were sitting all around. And she said, "How dare he?" And all of a sudden, we all looked up. And
Yeah.
she said, "We are not receptacles.
Mhm.
Yes, we are mothers. Yes, yes, yes. But we are so much more than that." And
Absolutely.
he made the example that we had vaginas, so we had to be receptacles.
Mhm.
And she started on the theology of the council and what should have been and where he should have been taking us, which was to women being full citizens of the church. Well, of
Mhm.
course, even today, women can't be priests in the Catholic Church. That moment for me was a moment of opening my ears and opening my eyes and saying, what is all this about? What am
Yeah.
I about? Where have I been? Well, it took 4 years for me to really understand what was going on and who I was.
Yeah.
But I call that the turning point of my life. And I think we all have turning points.
Yes.
We have more than one in our lives,
Absolutely.
you know, but it's to be able to recognize it and to step up to it that really makes the difference in our lives. And it
Mhm.
takes tremendous courage for your voice to be heard.
Absolutely. And that just kind of answered my next question because I was going to say, what was the central message to aim or to convey in the title of A Woman's Voice Should Be Heard?
That through the convent, my voice was silenced. And even growing up, because I do talk about the strong women in my life
Mhm.
and the culture in which I grew up. I grew up in an Irish Catholic culture. And if there are any listeners who grew up in that culture, They know what it's like to have the priest, especially if you have one who is a member of your family, really dictate your life. And so I tell that story in the book, a couple of stories, and a lot of stories in the book. And then in the convent, you are silenced. You are, and I had strong women in my life who were not silenced.
Yeah.
And then in the convent, so when I went to Notre Dame, it was like, speak out, be who you are, you're intelligent, etc. So that message was very clear. And so then after I left, I came out with a doctorate in the administration of higher education. I became a dean at a college,
Yeah.
at an all-male college.
Oh,
And,
wow.
and it was the beginning of understanding the reality of misogynism, which
Right.
was so endemic to the system,
Yeah.
very endemic. And what it took. So the rest of the book about is all the incidences that I had in my life that may tell a story to women. One is about a bank who refused to give me any a $10,000 loan without my husband's signature. And how do you fight that? Another one is that I had this strong women mentor, and she encouraged me to sue the federal government so that I could contract with the federal government as a business owner. I was an entrepreneur, and I started out by helping women in corporations. That's how I started my business. And I was committed to do that, but it was very difficult for minorities and females to get any sizable government contract. You know,
Yeah.
they would feed you what was left over from the table, but they
Oh, my
wouldn't,
goodness.
but they wouldn't allow you to participate fully. So I did sue them and I did win.
Oh,
And
well, that's good.
that's another story. And then another very important story is about um, we women were thrown out. We had been in this white women were part of a minority council in Dallas, Texas. There were 90 of us in it for a couple of years. And the national council said, you can't have white women in this council. So we got thrown out.
Yeah.
And we went to the newspaper. We gathered together. We had, it was almost one of the first experiences I had of being public with
Yeah.
this. And what happened was we got our own group. The corporations established a group, but it was a big fight and it was lasted. But it wouldn't have happened for those women that are now very much involved in able to be contracting with the federal government with large contracts. They're doing very well.
Yeah.
But your voices have to be heard. Or
And
go ahead.
yeah, sorry. And what type of mental toll did that take on you, like during all of this, even while you were attending Notre Dame?
Well, I was running a business. Oh, while I was attending Notre Dame, I loved it. I loved everything about it. And I think it brought me a sense of confidence and a deep spirituality about what life was about. It wasn't just you had to join the convent to save your soul.
Right.
You could, all of these people around me were wonderful, good people, and they were doing very well. I was very much at ease with the whole experience at Notre Dame.
Yeah.
And I am very grateful for those 4 years in my life.
That's good.
I really am. Now, it's another question. What's your mental balance when when you have your voice heard and they don't like it?
Oh, wow.
That really affects us very deeply. And we get courage from one another.
Yeah.
It's very important to have support from other women. And
Hmm.
I would not be here today if it weren't for strong women mentors, strong women who were my friends, women who encouraged me. And it can be just about anyone in your life. Most of the time, you will find someone a little older than you who has
Hmm.
more experience and will be the strength of for you if when you are ready to have your voice heard. Uh,
Absolutely.
and going, I know you probably had some experience with mentors and
Yes.
people who have and they don't have to be women, but when you have a woman mentor, there is just nothing like it.
Absolutely. I agree with that 100%. But what challenges have you encountered, or if you had any resistance advocating for women's voices?
Oh, yes. All the challenges that you might imagine. For example, um, this deal with the Dallas Fort Worth Minority Council, we sent a letter out to 250 CEOs
Hmm.
explaining to them what happened. Without that letter, I don't think there ever would have been any action. And we, the I was the chair of this committee, and two of us got called to lunch at this fancy hotel, the Mansion in Dallas. And in comes the two leaders of the corporations who were leading this whole movement. And they were so upset with us. They didn't even greet us.
Hmm.
They walked into this absolutely beautiful restaurant. Well, and they were late. They were 20 minutes late.
Oh,
And
no.
and we were sitting there, and we thought, they didn't even say, hello, good afternoon, how are you? All of their politeness somehow was left behind.
Hmm.
And so we just sat down and waited for them to calm down. But
Wow.
we never gave up.
That's
We,
good.
we never gave up. We listened to them. I always tell the story that I had she crab soup that day.
Uh-huh.
And it helped.
And how do you feel about women's rights, or about them still being violated or neglected today?
Oh, I am. Most women who have fought this battle in the latter part of the 20th century
Hmm.
feel so like we've been betrayed.
Hmm.
When in June 2022, when the Supreme Court decided on the Dodd case and threw it back to the states, and
Hmm.
consequently, we have what, almost 30 states forbidding abortion right now,
Hmm.
or restricting it so badly it's not, you can say it's forbidden. I mean,
Right.
most women do not know whether they're pregnant at 6 weeks.
Hmm.
It's, the whole other story. And um, right now, it's up to younger women to carry that torch.
Yeah.
And I think one of the biggest ways is going to be voting. We
Hmm.
have we have women now on boards, school boards, on local, and it's in the local elections where this is going to happen. It's
Hmm.
in your assemblies, in your legislature, your state legislatures, in your local town councils, with your school boards who are right now taking books out of the school
Yeah.
about minorities, about women, about LGBTQ,
Hmm.
about anything that doesn't agree with them.
Right.
That's not what the United States is about.
Hmm.
And we women, I believe, must step up to this whole cycle of elections and know
Hmm.
what we're going to do. We do need to vote our own vote, not our
Yeah.
husbands, not our, whoever else. What do you believe?
Hmm.
And can you, so yes, the answer to your question is we need to get active again.
Absolutely. And women, we find it difficult to challenge stereotypes or and different biases. So what advice do you have for women in that matter?
That it is so sensitive. Let's say you're in a meeting, which
Hmm.
happens often, and you recognize someone makes a remark they shouldn't have made, either about you or another woman. It is very difficult at that moment to step up to it,
Hmm.
depending on who makes the remark. But you always have the opportunity after the meeting to talk to the leader and the person who made the remark. Most of the time, doing it in public isn't going to help you.
Hmm.
Most of the time,
Yeah.
sometimes you can if you're close enough to that group and you've got a really good relationship with them, then sure, go ahead and do it, and
Right.
and if you can do it with humor, it's even better.
Right. Yeah.
But don't let the leader leave that room without you talking to that leader,
Yeah.
because it's the leader who should have said something.
Hmm.
You shouldn't have had to.
Yeah.
And that's one thing. Then there's the whole thing about salaries
Hmm.
and the discrimination of women,
Yes.
and the discrimination in the amount in each category, and why men are getting ahead. Um, I have a daughter still working, and she's doing very well, but she recognizes throughout the industry that you have to have your voice heard, or it's
Yeah.
not going, or you're not going to get what you need.
Absolutely.
And that's, we tend not to want to step up to the plate for ourselves.
Hmm.
And that is part of mental healing to me.
Yeah. Absolutely.
That you need, first of all, many of us had to grow self confidence
Hmm.
as an adult.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it is with that self confidence that we will be healthy.
Yeah.
To me, it's so important, and to feel good about it after you did it. You know,
Absolutely.
now I have had some negative feedback about my book
Hmm.
from close relatives,
Hmm.
really not supportive, because my memories are not the same as theirs.
Right.
And how do I feel about that? Well, it's been my women friends who have said, do not let that get into your heart. Just don't
Absolutely.
let it get into your heart. Dare to walk on the high road when that happens. I
Hmm.
have this big sign above here that I'm looking at right now, and it says, Dare to walk on the high road.
Yeah.
And remember when Michelle Obama said that to us?
Hmm.
It was just so inspiring.
Yeah.
And if you have a belief system, if you have faith, your faith has to help you, no matter
Absolutely.
whatever you believe in. I
Yeah.
still have my faith, by the way.
Uh-huh. That's good.
but it is my faith, because the Catholic Church still does not honor women as full participants.
Hmm. Interesting. I did
And
not know that.
yes, women cannot be priests in the Catholic Church. Women cannot be deacons in the Catholic Church.
Huh.
And most women feel that they are treated less than because of that.
Wow.
So
That's never knew
talking
that.
about a mental health battle there, because
Right.
you have your own belief system, you have your strength of people around you, your community,
Hmm.
and yet you're stepping up to the fact that you are not being treated equally to the guy who sits in front of you.
Right.
You know, so that is a very good example of why you have to feel that you are okay. You
Yeah.
are okay. What you decide, what you believe in, is real and true and good.
Absolutely. And not allowing someone else to bend your own beliefs, to stand for what you believe in is key when it comes
Yes.
to
Oh,
what you should do for self.
very much so. Very much so. I
Absolutely.
love talking to women. Thank you for
Mhm.
this opportunity. I really do, to your audience, because I see in their eyes, I see in their expressions.
Mhm.
And I gave a talk not too long ago at a luncheon of retired women. Were 140 people there, and just looking at their expressions, like agreeing with me or yes, shaking their head or whatever, you get so much encouragement from other women. I guess the one message I'm trying to send to women is honor each other.
Yes. I like that.
You know, even though there are things about all of us you probably don't agree with, you know, and that's true. We can't all be perfect. As a matter
Right.
of fact, most of us are imperfect. My daughter is a florist and a very successful one in Dallas. And she says when she arranges a design, there has to be one thing imperfect in it to
Mhm.
make the rest of it beautiful.
Oh, nice. I
Isn't
like
that interesting?
that. Uh-huh.
So that when we apply that to ourselves, we know we're imperfect. I mean,
Mhm.
let's not go there though.
So let's not go there.
You know,
And Aggie, what do you feel has made you the woman that you are today?
oh my goodness, so much. Um, so many steps. Probably, I think the University of Notre Dame
Mhm.
and the women there that I met, the women in my dorm, the people there that I met, who
Mhm.
got me. Um, it was like they were on the shuttle with me into space, you know,
Mhm.
or maybe they were the fire that sent me into space.
Yeah.
Uh, and you don't ever forget. Plus, I have a strong belief in. I am a follower of Christianity, of
Mhm.
Jesus, and I really. Oops, what happened?
Nothing?
Oh, my screen went out.
Oh, you can't see me anymore?
No.
Because we can still see you.
Oh, good. I wonder what happened. Well, is that me or you? What do I have to do?
But I believe it's you because I can definitely still see you.
Oh, did they just cut me off here someplace?
No, you're still talking and I can still see you.
Okay, so why don't we just continue?
Okay.
I don't know what it must have been. Oh, this is crazy, isn't it? Can we keep on talking?
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, there you are. You're back.
Oh, there we
I
go.
don't know what happened. Just
Well, I don't remember what what the question was. So
I was just going to say, you know, just when you think you're learning technology and you're doing something really good, something happens.
yeah.
And you say, I don't know anything. It's very frustrating.
Right.
Anyway, I,
Stuff always
I
happens.
think you were saying the question was, what really makes me who I am today?
Oh, yes, yes.
And today I'm a volunteer. I
Hmm.
continue to write for a magazine, We
Oh, wow.
produce a very high literary magazine here at the community where I live,
Hmm.
and we continue to do that. My husband continues to photograph for the magazine, and
Nice.
I am starting a column, a blog on my website right now and for the magazine about people who are over the age of 75 who are
Hmm.
still producing, who are
Okay.
still achieving, who are still working. We
Hmm.
have right now on my blog, AggieJordan.com, there's a blog, and it's a story of a former pediatric urologist who now has written a musical,
Oh, wow.
who, who has continued to write poetry,
Hmm.
and who has written his memoir. He was born in China, and he had to, after retirement, he had to learn how to write in English.
Hmm.
And
Wow.
not that he always knew professionally how to write, but not how to create
Hmm.
what he really wanted to say.
Right. That's
And
impressive.
oh, it's very impressive. And so I'm looking for those people. So anybody listening, if you have a grandparent or a
Hmm.
neighbor or somebody that you think is a great achiever, and they're, because right now, what's happening is ageism in our country.
Hmm. Yeah.
This election about Biden's too old or Trump is too old, and et cetera, et cetera. And maybe they are, but
Uh-huh.
let's look at what they produce, not how old they are.
Right.
So this blog is going to be kind of fighting ageism, I guess.
Hmm.
Saying people at every age have something to contribute. So it's called Raising the Bar at 75 Plus.
And and how do you feel that women can maintain a sense of purpose while in retirement?
That's a really good question. By first trying, I would say the first thing you do when you retire is take 6 months to do
Mhm.
nothing,
Okay.
to actually think about yourself, to know what you want, who you are. And there is a creative self in every one of us, no matter how it expresses itself.
Hmm.
And it can be in all the things we know of writing and painting and art and performing arts, etc. But it can be in
Hmm.
many different ways we can start creating for ourselves. Who do you want to be at 65
Right.
or more?
Hmm.
And uh, I think after you find that out, then you start. I think you have to study. I went to a memoir class before I began, and I've been writing all my life.
Hmm.
But writing a memoir is very different than just writing a magazine
Hmm.
article. Or I was also a columnist for the Dallas Times Herald newspaper.
Hmm.
But writing a small business column is different than writing your memoir. A
And what is
memoir
the
has
difference?
a memoir has a theme,
Hmm.
and it tells stories.
Okay.
And what are the stories? For example, almost Maggie Smith, who just wrote one of the most beautiful books called "You This Place." You make this place beautiful,
Hmm.
and she says every book begins with an unanswered question.
Hmm.
And a memoir certainly begins with unanswered questions, or you wouldn't write it.
Right.
Why did people used to say, why did you leave the convent? Or why
Hmm.
did you enter the convent? Or
Hmm.
why did you stay? I would answer those, but the answers were never deeply thought out.
Hmm.
They were off the cuff.
Yes.
And I thought, I really don't know those answers
Hmm.
completely for myself.
Yeah.
And that was the beginning of a memoir. And I think when you have unanswered questions for any book that you want to write, you begin with those.
Yeah.
You begin with those questions. and then you write them. The most important thing about being a writer, and especially a memo writer, is telling the truth.
Mm-hmm.
And that is very difficult sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And to tell the truth as it happened. Maggie Smith's memoir is on divorce
Mm-hmm.
and what she went through in her divorce and what her two children went through and how you protect children through a divorce. It's a wonderful book and it's so well written. It's so delightful to read a book that's so well written,
Yeah.
you know. And you would think that I'm her PR person, but I'm not.
Yeah.
I don't even know her. I just
Yeah.
enjoyed the book so much. And, when somebody can talk deeply about hurt
Mm-hmm.
and how they were hurt and how they came out of it. In her last chapter, she says, I am making progress and I have done these things. And writing the book has been part of her mental health
Mm-hmm.
through this divorce.
Yeah.
And, but I'm not completely done yet.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm not, she has kids who are still growing up. What are they going to be like? How is it going to affect them? These are all concerns she still has. And we all
Mm-hmm.
still have,
Yeah.
when a major, major event occurs in our lives.
And that's what you're saying is a major event occurs in our life. That's how we get that sense of purpose, or what do you, like what
How we
is.
get that sense of purpose is first
Mm-hmm.
change
Mm-hmm.
and taking a risk
Yes.
of what we want to be, what we believe in, what we value.
Right.
That's how we get this sense of purpose. And
Right.
then we look for it and we study and we ask people and we go to class if we have to,
Mm-hmm.
because those are the things that will help us to understand what we want to do.
Yeah.
And we're talking mainly sense of purpose in retirement, but we all are seeking a sense of purpose. For example, do we like the job we're in?
Mm-hmm.
You know, do we like the area we're living in?
Right.
Does it encourage us to be who we are?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we can spend 20, 30 years doing something we don't like,
Yes. I know. Yeah.
right? I mean, we can. And how do we make up for that? I think the risk you're taking to do a podcast,
Yeah.
that's a risk.
It is.
And it takes a lot of time.
It does.
And do you feel like you have found your purpose, or do you feel like you're continuing on the journey to find it?
I'm still continuing on the journey, but I absolutely love podcasting. I'm very, very passionate about it, especially with my poetry.
Oh, good. Great.
Yes.
Good.
Yes, definitely. And what
Excellent.
is the number one priority to adhere through all the retirement? Like what would be the number one priority to maintain a healthy mental balance?
Concern for your health is number one. And we should never, never forget that. When my husband and I retired, we made an agreement with each other
Mhm.
that our first priority is to be healthy.
Yes.
And that might mean a number of things. It
Mhm.
might be choosing an area where you have good health care.
Yeah.
It might mean, oh, maybe I need to lose some weight. Maybe I don't. Maybe
Hmm.
I need to get back to the gym.
Yeah.
Maybe I need to go to a place when I'm choosing a place where I want to live that has a gym. That was one of our priorities. We
Hmm.
we actually chose this community because they had a gym
Yeah.
and the community and swimming pools and golf courses and activities because
Yeah.
it's healthy to do
Yeah.
that, you know. And so, but what's your interest? Maybe you choose, maybe you like to garden, and maybe
Hmm.
you choose a place where you can have a home with a garden.
Yeah.
All of those, um, I think number one is your physical and mental health.
Absolutely. I agree with that. And what are you doing right now besides writing that you're living your best life?
Traveling.
Oh, nice.
Um, Robert and I have been lucky enough to travel. We both love it. And we have been to almost 80 countries.
Wow, that's
Well,
awesome.
that's over a long period of time, remember?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And and we haven't been to Turkey, so we're going to Turkey in August. And
Oh,
we're taking
nice.
a cruise on a small boat
Hmm.
that starts in Istanbul and goes through 4 or 5 ports of Turkey
Hmm.
to Ephesus, which is one of the really important cities in Christianity.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And then around we've been to Greece,
Hmm.
uh, but not to every place that's on this cruise.
Hmm.
So we're happy to do that. But we we love the thought of going back to Santorini. If you haven't been to Santorini, when you get out of the boat and you look at Santorini,
Uh-huh.
you never forget it.
Wow.
All those white buildings with blue roofs, with gorgeous, gorgeous sunlight coming on them. With it's so spectacular. So we're
Hmm.
happy to return there and to Mykonos. So the rest of them we haven't been to. So we're excited.
Yeah, that sounds very exciting.
And something I haven't done that I've only written up a couple of our trips and
Hmm.
seriously written them up, like we
Hmm.
went to China and I did write that up. But I'm going to write this one up. But you know
Yeah.
what happened? We went to Spain and we also took a cruise along the whole coast of Spain.
Hmm.
And I left my journal someplace.
Oh, wow.
I so what do I do? I
Yeah.
have to come home and rebuild everything.
Oh, man. And was it like pretty much full?
It was every single day of the journey, every
Oh, my,
single day. I was
oh
so
my
good at writing it.
Wow.
Oh, I was so disappointed. So if anybody sees, and I have to tell you something, may I show my book?
Yeah, absolutely.
Can you see it? Okay.
Yes.
Um, my friend, my very good writer friend, he took a copy of this and made me a cover for that journal.
Hmm.
And that's what I lost too. So there's two things, not only the journal, but
Oh
the
my
fact that
goodness.
I lost this precious, precious book.
Oh, wow. I'm so sorry to hear that.
Yes, but you know what? We have to accept things in life and
Yeah,
move on. And
absolutely.
that is a mental health healing message. You know,
Yes, definitely.
I
Definitely.
mean, I just came to a point. I really believe in providence,
Hmm.
and I believe that somebody's watching over me because so many good things happen. You know,
Yes.
and it's up to me to respond in
Hmm.
some way. So that happened. I don't know. Maybe someday I'll find it in the mail.
Yeah, you might. You just might. You never know.
You never know. But in the meantime, it's gone.
Yeah.
You have to accept that it's gone. Lose some things. Yeah. I tend to lose things. And,
Yeah.
and even like, I have to say, I lose jewelry around this house. Someplace around this house is one earring to about 10 different sets of earrings.
Yeah. My mother's the same way.
Where do you put them? How do they?
Yeah. Exactly. I understand that. Is
So,
there any other advice that you like to give anyone or even just women in general?
just be true to yourself.
Hmm.
Know who you are. Take time to know who you are, no matter what your age.
Yeah.
Take time to do that. I would like to advise young people listening, do think about putting money away for your retirement.
Hmm.
It,
Absolutely.
it doesn't have to be much, it can be $10 a week.
Hmm.
If you can do that and start an account and then start investing
Yeah.
and in something that makes sense to you, but always thinking about what am I going to do when I retire?
Yeah.
Because life is, we're all living longer.
Yeah.
So, I mean, start a podcast, start a blog, do something that has purpose.
Hmm. I agree.
Oh,
I like that.
I mean, we just have to remember to take care of ourselves throughout
Yes.
our life,
Yes.
you know.
And
And
we have to just remember to enjoy life also,
oh yes,
not
yes.
just live, but actually enjoy life.
Do you like comedies?
Yes, I love comedies.
Me too. I think they're really good for the mental health.
Yes, I love to laugh.
Yeah, really. I think they're
Absolutely.
really good, no matter who it is. They're just funny, and it's
Yeah.
especially when we have a guy who writes. Are you familiar with Nextdoor online? It's
No.
okay. They're communities of neighbors, and they're all over the country.
Hmm.
And this guy writes a joke every single day, and he's so good at it because
Yeah.
he has you thinking, okay, where's this going?
Yeah.
Every day he has something. I just love it that he must be having this as his purpose because he
Yeah.
makes everybody in the world laugh.
Yeah.
Everybody who's reading it, not everybody in the world, but
Hmm.
at least us in the community who reads it. So
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. Anything that you find that brings you happiness, that brings you joy is very good. So I like that.
Oh, the more we can do it. Yeah. Yeah. Well,
And
how's the weather in Indianapolis?
it's actually beautiful. It's sunny, and the sun is shining, and it's very warm. So I'm loving it, actually.
Oh, good.
Yes.
Good. Yes. It's beautiful in spring and summer, I think.
Yes. And where are you again?
California, in the desert of California. Our summers are not very beautiful, they're very hot.
Yeah. Oh, no. Which part of
Like
California?
near Palm Springs, Indio,
Oh, okay.
Indio, California. And it can get to 120, 122 in the summer.
Oh my
Now,
God.
people say, well, your heat is dry, you don't get humidity. Let me tell you,
Uh-huh.
after 100 degrees, you don't care.
Yeah.
You dry is good up to 100 degrees. After that, mm-mm. it's
Yeah.
it's hot.
So it's hot. And how can the listeners get a hold of you if they would like to contact you?
Okay, AggieJordan.com is my
Mhm.
website, and it's Aggie at AggieJordan.com, and I'll spell it AggieJordan.com.
Awesome. Thank
Thank
you
you.
so much.
Robin, this has been so much fun. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
And thank you for being so calm about my early exploits on the line, trying to get
Oh,
this
you're fine.
done. I appreciate it. Thank you.
No problem. Thank you again. I would loved having you on the show, and I greatly appreciate you coming on.
Oh, thank you. I really appreciate it too. I've heard some of your broadcasts. I've reheard them, and they're really good. Yeah,
Thank you. Thank you so much. I greatly appreciate that.
yeah, yeah. It was fun. It was fun to listen to them because you have such a good variety of people.
Yes, yes. I like
And
that.
yeah, that helps.
That
Well,
always helps. Yeah.
yeah. Do you get much feedback on your podcast?
It honestly just depends. Sometimes I do and sometimes I don't.
Yeah.
So, but I do get quite a bit.
Oh, good.
Hmm.
Excellent. Yeah.
Yeah, and they'll
Feedback
ask
helps
more
all of us.
questions than anything though.
Oh, do you? Yeah.
Yeah, I get a lot of
Okay.
questions. Yeah.
Great. Okay.
But
Thank you
thank you
very much.
again
I
so much. And
appreciate it.
again, everyone, thank you so much for listening. Again, this is Aggie Jordan, and this is all about healing everyone. Stay blessed.
Thank you.